In the grand narrative of human origins, few discoveries rival the significance of Lucy, the 3.2-million-year-old fossilized skeleton of an Australopithecus afarensis discovered in Ethiopia in 1974. More than just a collection of ancient bones, Lucy revolutionized paleoanthropology by providing definitive proof that our ancestors mastered bipedalism long before developing the large brains characteristic of modern humans.
You see, that single idea is really the heart of Lucy's importance. Her discovery wasn't just another collection of ancient bones. It was a complete game changer. The fossil proved, with absolute certainty, that our ancestors were walking around on two legs long before their brains had significantly expanded. This insight, well, it completely flipped the script on the entire story of human evolution. So, to really grasp Lucy's impact, we have to go back to the very moment she was found. Her story, for us, doesn't actually begin with her life millions of years ago. No, it begins with her rediscovery in the African dust. Just try to picture it. Over 3 million years ago, a small, ancient relative of ours lives and dies in what we now call Ethiopia. Her remains get buried by sediment, they fossilize, and they're locked away in stone for eons. And then, fast forward to a hot November morning in 1974. A team of paleoanthropologists are out there scanning the dusty ground, and one of them spots a tiny fragment of an arm bone. That single piece, that one little find, would lead them to one of the greatest scientific discoveries of the entire 20th century. And what they ended up uncovering was just astonishing. It wasn't just a tooth or a skull fragment, the typical kinds of things they find. No, they found 40% of a complete skeleton. In the world of fossil hunting, finding that much of one single ancient individual, it's like hitting the lottery. It gave us this incredibly rare, unbelievably detailed window into our deepest past. Of course, the first thing they had to do was confirm that all of these bones actually belonged to the same person. And the evidence? It was just undeniable. There were no duplicate parts, no two left thigh bones, for instance. Every single piece was the right size, and they all showed the same level of maturity. And, crucially, they were all found in the exact same layer of earth. There was no doubt, this was one individual, and they named her Lucy. Okay, so with the bones all laid out, the real investigation could finally begin. The focus now shifted. It was all about figuring out what this skeleton could tell us about her life, her species, and our own origins. She was identified as a member of a species we now call Australopithecus afarensis. And because her skeleton was so unbelievably complete, she basically became the gold standard for that species. She is what's known as the type specimen. You can think of her as the blueprint. Almost everything we know about her kind, we learned directly from studying her bones. It's really incredible what scientists can learn just from looking at ancient bones. For example, the fact that her wisdom teeth, her third molars, were fully erupted showed that she was a mature adult when she died, not a child. The shape of her pelvis, which was broad and sort of basin-shaped, was a clear giveaway that she was female. And by carefully measuring her limb bones, they could even reconstruct her height. She stood at just about 3.5 feet tall. And her immense age? Well, that wasn't a guess. Not at all. It was precisely calculated using a technique called potassium-argon dating. They applied it to the layers of volcanic ash that were found directly above and directly below her skeleton. You see, these layers acted like a perfect geological clock, locking her remains in time and confirming her staggering age, 3.2 million years. But beyond her age, or her sex, or even her species, Lucy's skeleton held a much deeper revelation. This was the big one, the discovery that would completely rewrite the story of human evolution. The whole answer was right there in her hips. If you look at a chimpanzee's pelvis, it's long and narrow. It's an anatomy built for moving around on 4 limbs. Lucy's pelvis, though, was completely different. It was short, it was broad, and it was bowl-shaped. This was a pelvis built for walking upright, and it's strikingly similar to our own. This piece of her skeleton, this was the smoking gun. And if her pelvis wasn't enough, her thigh bone, the femur, absolutely sealed the deal. You see, it angles inward from her hip down to her knee. This feature is known as the bicondylar angle. It's a really crucial adaptation that positions our knees and feet directly under our body's center of gravity when we walk. It's the very thing that allows us to have a stable, efficient stride. And Lucy had it. This was definitive, undeniable proof that she walked upright, in a way that was remarkably similar to us. So what we have here is a creature with a human-like body, built for walking, but at the same time, she had a small ape-like skull. This led to a truly monumental conclusion, one that completely rewrote the textbooks. For years, the prevailing assumption had been that large brains came first, and that they drove the evolution of other human traits. Lucy proved that was completely wrong. Upright walking, bipedalism, this was one of the very first adaptations that set our ancestors on the path to becoming human. It evolved millions of years before our brains started to get big.
So, in the end, Lucy's skeleton didn't just give us a new ancestor to add to the family tree. No, it gave us a profound new understanding of our own journey.
And even the story of how she died gives us a clue about how she lived. A very close look at some subtle fractures in her bones suggests that she died from a high fall. This hints at a life lived in two worlds. She was walking on the ground, yes, but she was also still climbing in the trees, probably for foraging or for safety. She was a creature truly caught in that great transition, from a life in the trees to a life on the solid ground.
Ultimately, Lucy stands as the matriarch of paleoanthropology, transforming a theoretical branch of our family tree into a tangible reality. Her discovery settled a fundamental debate in evolutionary science, confirming that bipedalism paved the way for larger brains, rather than the other way around. By bridging the gap between ancient apes and modern humans, Lucy remains an enduring touchstone, reminding us that the journey of humanity began not with a thought, but with a single upright step.